structured, laid out program, which I do it all over the world. But before I start off, it will be a pleasure to get introduced to each one of you all, right? And guess if there's any expectations from your side. So if in case throughout the day I get time, it will be a pleasure customizing it. Can I start with you, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Working for Hindustan Petroleum as a DGM QMS. I would like to, now I am doing costing for our company, and I would like to know how to read a balance sheet, how to understand balance sheet. That is my...
Read and understand balance sheet. Yes, ma'am. Okay. What are the implications, sir? Sure.
I used to start, I work with you like before I entered digital marketing.
Any expectations, sir? Okay.
Dr. Rajiv, I had the good since I had the hospital and doctor has to know.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough, sir.
Ravi Pilani from Reliance Industries, working as a marketing manager. I would like to know the implications of finance. How finance is important for marketing people.
Okay.
Rajesh Modi, I'm working with Reliance Industries Limited for a young marketing division. I would like to understand the number game when we hear that this company has or this balance sheet has been played and the digits are manipulated. So how actually happen?
You're from Reliance, no, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't say anything. I only asked. Okay, sir. Okay. Fair enough.
It's universal for all.
So I didn't say it.
Any balance sheet can be presented anywhere. How that happens?
Definitely, sir. I'll talk about shenanigans. Pleasure. Sudhir, sir.
I head the finance department there. I want to look at various type of presentations that we can do for the balance sheet.
Fine.
For funding and
You're looking for funding options. Yeah, sure.
I'm Jibu James from the Times of India. I'm from the production department. So just want to get a grip on what finance means to a pure non-finance.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm Pankaj Patel. Myself is an entrepreneur, and I find a lot of difficulty in getting finance loan from the bank. So
How do you present it to the bank? Okay.
what are the other options?
Fine. Hi.
I'm more and more design engineering and project management in terms of we're a contracting company. So in terms of how, in terms of project management, how the cash flow affects everything. And a lot of our projects get delayed because of cash flow. So in terms of understanding how to have better financial planning and control in terms of to make sure smooth operations in terms of how that is quarterly.
Okay. Fine.
Good morning. My name is Jay Banerjee. I'm from Tidewater manufacturer of Bidong. I would like to understand the budgeting part. I'm reading regional sales, budgeting part, and of course channel finance.
You were looking for something in channel.
Channel part.
Sure.
Morning, I'm a senior manager at DBS Bank. I'm here to just go to learn more about the bank. Yeah.
Financial statements. Yeah.
I am Namita Maheshwari. I am also from DBS Bank, and I would like to have more knowledge on the credit aspects when we give loans and all the credit monitoring.
What do you look at?
Huh?
What do you look at?
Yeah, what do you look at the credit when we give loans or whatever? So let's say even the foreign entities and all that, how it affects the finance of the bank.
Sure. So we have got somebody who says how to present and somebody who says how to analyze. Okay. Definitely.
Pankaj is from India. Basically, I deal with project engineering. So we deal with huge capex requirements of different new projects. So basically, we are here eyeing to know how the IRR or payback of a project is calculated and what are various factors. Those can hamper the project financial over the period of its life.
Okay. So you're looking at basically budgeting again. Okay, sure. Hi.
My name is Anuj Sharma. I work for Mahindra on the same department for projects, basically into capital budgeting itself. So we are here just because to know basically finance as an overall picture and how does it key role play in projects.
Sure.
Hi, Lakshman from we are UK-based group dealing manufacturing various. In my group, we deal with oil and gas equipment. We sell across India. We market across India. Two things I like to understand is one, what is the pound implication on this is? Customers are asking us, your rupee is appreciated, you should give more discount. So, whereas UK people are saying that recession is there, so we cannot offer more discount. So, unlike between these two, when we quote in pounds or dollars, when the rupee appreciates, the cost of the product for them goes up. So, they accept a much bigger discount. I like to know one thing. The second thing, what is the maximum cost of percentage of cost in your order? For example, we get 10 X dollar, X pounds, X dollar, X rupees. What can be the maximum cost of sales cost in an industrial setting, industrial market? We are talking about pure customer, direct customer selling, no middle or no agent involved. What is the maximum, let's say 10% of the order value or 5% of the order value in terms of total cost?
Sure, sure.
Hi, I'm Mahadev Duri. I'm working for Alma India. I am a sales manager for medical equipment division, and I want to understand various financial statements, balance sheets, and of course whatever these people have said, I would like to discuss.
Hello, I'm Nikhil Sanghvi, and I'm sales manager from Halma. Again, like what he said, I've rephrased it. I'm saying that we have the equipments turning up from UK and Netherlands. That's from Europe. And there is a lot of implication due to the forex. How does the global market influence India due to this forex? Because it's again related to finance. Like if you can emphasize on that. Secondly, like we talk about expanding the business. So when we talk about expanding the business in the finance part, if we see there is a part which has been dedicated out for the manpower. How much it should be, which is the optimum rate, invest or dedicated for the manpower, if at all the business is to be enhanced.
Sure.
If you can highlight on that would be appreciated.
Sure.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Rosa.
Yeah.
I'm working with SBI Capital Markets. Actually, I want to know the financials thoroughly, how to analyze it, how to understand the balance sheet, how to understand the other part of the financials.
Sure. Okay, so let's get started. The way I've structured it, dear colleagues, is I'll start with financial statements. Then we'll look at analyzing that. And then we'll try and build in the budgeting part. I'll answer queries, across the line. Some are slightly more customized, so definitely it'll be a pleasure answering it throughout the day. I'll also leave you with my email ID, so in case there's something beyond today also you would like me to talk about or cover, it'll be a pleasure addressing it. Having said that, just two requirements from the course from my side, right? One, in case I say something and you're not understanding or you're not getting it, I have not communicated. So please make me repeat, because I'm very, very clear. Finance is very, very simple and it's very, very logical. And I'll convince you all. Just give me half an hour and you'll get convinced, and we'll do that throughout the day. And second, let's interact. And let's just interact and try and figure out. So we're looking at financial statements. So whether you're working for SBI Caps as my dear colleague there, or you're working for a marketing team, you're heading the marketing team, we start with financial statements. So which are these financial statements and what do they actually indicate? So let's start by looking at that, and then let's look at each of this in detail and how to present and how to analyze and things like that. So let me start with Yashwantji, and I just need a start, so I'll definitely go to my colleague there. So why does any firm exist? To earn money. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Right? To make profits. So you have the first statement in finance, which is known as, thank you, profit and loss statement, which indicates profitability. Why do you need a profit and loss statement? You need a profit and loss statement because you need to understand whether the business is profitable or no, right? Right? Thank you. Right? I'm meeting my colleague after a long time. I just want to see how his firm is doing. Or you, sir, I want to know how your firm is doing. All I need to do is, I'll call for your profit and loss statement. I'll just have a look at it and say, yeah, Mr. Rajiv's hospital is making money. This looks like a good investment for us. We need to analyze this further, but mota moti, prima facie, it is making money. So you look at this statement and you understand profitability. Now the question that will come into mind is, and this is where the analysis starts. So you have three statements. I'll not do any slideshow. I'll get the answers out from you all. Because I personally believe finance is logic. And let me again start by saying I'm an engineer, right, who spent 20 years in finance now, right? Before I go to the second statement, why is it called profit and loss statement? Why is it called profit and loss statement? Now you'll have to start thinking, right? Why is it? So at the end of the day, either you make a profit or you make a loss. Thank you, sir. Right? Right. Thank you, Sudhir, sir. Right. Either you make a profit or you make a loss. So it should be called profit or loss statement, no, technically. Why is it called profit and loss statement? Sudhir, you like to take a call? Take your time, sir. Anybody? Why is it?
Because a company can make a profit or loss.
So then it
can be a profit or it can be a loss.
Correct. So English, then you are answering the way I want you to say. So Pankaj sir, either it should be called profit or loss, no? You're right. Either profit or loss. So why is it called profit? There's a reason. There's a lot of, and today is not only finance, today is finance plus strategy. That's the way I conduct this workshop. Okay, so I got one response which again came back, said, this looks like this is profit or loss. No, there's a reason why it is profit and loss. Sir, your name, I'm sorry. Venkat, yeah.
It's a statement for others to see, because if anybody wants to go to a profit and loss of a company, it's one statement without going to the depth of it. This will come from the face of it, whether it's a good company or a bad company.
Okay, so by going through it, you will come to know whether it's a good company or a bad company. Agreed. I think I've not communicated. My question is, why is it called profit and loss statement? Okay, I agree with what Mr. Venkat said. Yeah, you can look at it and see whether a company is doing well or no. Agreed. Why profit? Yeah, Mr. Nitul?
It shows what is the areas of profit and where the losses are incurred. It balances with both the information. So a person can analyze which are the areas of profit and where the losses are incurred.
You're coming very close to answer.
It
Okay.
balances both.
No, don't say it balances.
In terms of information, let me say.
Okay.
Not in terms of numerical values.
Okay.
In terms of information.
Okay. Ma'am, you're saying something.
Yeah, sometimes you get profit before tax and after that you...
Suddenly because you pay tax, you make a loss. No, at least you're saying something good, right? So before you pay tax, you're making money. Suddenly you pay tax and it makes a loss. So don't pay tax. Right? Okay. Right, good. At least, no, I've met ma'am earlier also. So one start. The answers are coming from you. I'll take charge. I'll keep interacting. This is just the beginning. So this I'll come to in 2 minutes. Thank you. First statement. It's coming from you all. See, why is it called profit and loss statement? Because it's a statement which reflects income and expense. Okay. What I'll do is I'll put it right there. Right. I'll put the jargons right there, which you can review it at your comfort. Profit and loss statement indicates income and expenditure. Income and expenditure. Superb. Right? Yes. What else? In fact, I got a good answer from Mr. Mitul. 1 second, just 1 second. Yeah, thank you. सुनिए, 2-3 markers लगेंगे, और वो board थोड़ा नीचे आ. It's a statement which is known as a cash flow statement. So there are 3 dimensions to business. One dimension to business is profitability. Second dimension to business is liquidity. And there is a third dimension which I'll discuss. So each of these, yeah.
Suppose there is a working capital of 500 rupees. You have 5 customers. So what do you do for next 3 months? Just wait for the cash to come. 3 months we don't do this.
Perfect. Thank you. Right? So today's condition, right? No, maybe I went fast. I'm sorry. Anuji, today's condition, what we are discussing, and immediately Sudhirji and others were nodding, is liquidity becomes a very important condition, right? So, absolutely. The jargon, right? The jargon for liquidity is working capital. And again, let me explain this jargon. As ma'am very correctly said, capital needed for day-to-day working. That is why it is known as working capital. Got the scenario now? I'll give you the breakup. Definitely I'll give the breakup, right? We just done the introduction and the answers will come. What does the balance sheet indicate? It indicates liabilities and assets. Okay. This came from Mama, by the way. Sorry, I didn't acknowledge because I got diverted. Okay. So it's liabilities and assets. What does it indicate? What does it indicate? I'm again looking at you. Pardon? What is worth of it? You're doing well, yeah? It indicates valuation. Okay. Rohanji, incidentally, valuation is a combination of all the three. Right? So, but you said worth, and I smiled for that. That's a very good answer. It indicates worth of a company. Can we have, no, I think I'm pushing you, right? It indicates, okay, so let me give you a situation first. And I'm going to take 10 minutes off this topic now. I'm going to take 10 minutes off this topic because there have been requirements. The requirements is current macroeconomic conditions, what is happening around us. Then after 10 minutes, we'll link it to balance sheet. Okay. So let me satisfy some dear friends who in the introduction said current macroeconomic environment. So my first question is, why is United States so important in all our discussions? Right? If you sit in conferences, if you want to launch a new product, let's say sir wants to start a chain of hospital. Right, so you want to launch a product, we'll go across and compare ourselves with United States and say, see, in US, this is the consumption. In India, right, the consumption is so there's a lot of potential. You start looking at stock markets, right, you will start looking at what's happening at, right, US, yeah, what's happening at New York Stock Exchange. Why is US so important in all our discussions? That what is so paranoid about that? And I'll give you some jargons. Can I have an interaction with you? You've not interacted with you, colleague. Not you, Rashi. This friend from DBS. Why is US important? Your name?
Namita.
Yeah, Namita.
US is because they are the, I mean,
they are the boss.
They provide huge loans to India, $40 loans and all this.
They are the most consuming animals in the world.
They are most, sorry, you're very blunt, consuming animals in the world. Okay, right.
People, finance industry or any industry, keep them in benchmark that this should be the consumption across the world. And accordingly, what other countries are consuming, they are ranked.
Very, very less, so we should consume like US. Okay, right, good. One sec. I want to appreciate this gentleman. He's right. US is very wonderful analysis, very nicely put. I'll not use your words though, right? Okay. US has got a very high consumption level, right? And also one very, very disturbing part is it's for many of the Americans. So these are debt is a part of income. So when they take loans, it becomes a part of income. So how to repay, right, is a question that comes up later.
They spend $2 while they are earning only $1.
Okay, so high consumption. Anuj, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was just saying simply the dollar is basically the driving economy across the world. So
Thank you.
It's basically the, you can say, the currency wherein it drives all the others.
Lovely. Thank you for the start, Namita ji. Thank you, Anuj ji. Thank you, sir. Something more.
Ratio population.
Yeah, that's their strength. Right? Population not very high, but still able to get into developed status.
One than in India, with much more bigger population.
Lovely.
Assets.
I'll add something to this.
It's a democratic country.
Two things that, right. Thank you.
There is no inflation.
Right. No, right. There is inflation there, right?
But that is basically stagnant. It's basically a developed country, so inflation is there, but
It's stagnant. All managers, please note, Rohanji, fantastic. Please note one term, very important term, and I'll give you some stats. Okay, thank you for all your answers. Okay, on US, two things I would not like to talk about because I'm incompetent to talk about that: politics and religion. Okay, I'm incompetent, so that I'll never encourage in a public forum to speak. Right? We'll talk finance and we'll keep it to jargons. Thank you for your points. Remember one term which came from a dear friend here. Again, I repeat, it's a lovely audience. Please note, the term is GDP. For all those of you all who wanted a small glimpse of the macroeconomic environment, let me explain this and then link it to balance sheet. I'm come out to customizer because in the introduction, some colleagues were very clear. what's the current environment, how do you link the euro and all that, right? Dear colleagues, GDP stands for gross domestic product. I'll simplify it now. I'll take charge and I'll simplify it. It's all very simple. Please understand, it's all very simple, right? Rosa ma'am, GDP is the value of goods and services produced by a country. It's as simple as that. So what is the value of goods and services produced by a country is GDP. Now I'll give you some stats just to prove a point, Venkat sir. Right? So this is, please note, the point is to prove why US is important in our discussion. Total world GDP. Now this, I'll like to look at you when I say this, right?
What do you mean by value?
Value.
How do you evaluate value?
This, right? The cost of production.
No, this will cost 1 rupee in India, whereas it will cost.
No. So we will look at very nice question, Rajiv sir. We will, when you are looking at India, we look in terms of rupees, and then we'll convert it into dollars, right? So please note, very nice question, sir. Very nice question. So value in that particular country. So now one sec, I'm not finished, and I'll get an expression from you all. Total world GDP is $60 trillion. $60 trillion. Don't write till I get that expression on your face. Why is US important? US alone as a country has a GDP of $15 trillion. 1/4 of world economy comes from this country. Can I rub it in? Second is China with 5 trillion. Can you see the gap between the first and the second? Third is Japan with 4.5 trillion. And for all of us Indians who are wondering where India is, we are doing very well. We are at 1.7 trillion. So next time you please note, why is US important? Please add, wonderful discussion, dollar as a currency, they give a lot of loans. Look at the discussion, right? Consumption economy. Also please note, it's one of the largest GDP driven economy. In fact, if you look at the gap, it contributes to 1/4 of the world economy. One. If you look at the gap between the first and the second, it's 3 times, sir. Yeah. Now the point that you would say is, and somebody like me will make that statement, India, China will replace US. Now look at your math. India is 1.7, Rajiv sir. For it, sir, China is 5, right? 5 plus 1.7 is 6.7. US is 15. The next thing that you should ask, the moment I make this comment is, right? By when, Mr. Menon? Right? Thank you very much. That's where we keep saying there is another factor which is known as GDP growth rate. Whenever you open the papers, right? One sec, sir. 1 second. It'll be a pleasure. Right? When you open the papers, you would see they say 7%, 8%. What is this? It's nothing but, right? It is nothing but GDP growth rate. It'd be a pleasure to take queries, but before that, I just want to ensure that I have communicated. Please note, dear friends, when I say 10%, that means India currently is 1.7 trillion. If it goes by 10%, which is good this year, by next year it will add another 0.17 trillion. So next year will be 1.7 plus 0.17, that's 1.87. But please be noted, a United States growing by 5%, thank you. Thank you. Right? You are spontaneous. Absolutely spontaneous. Right? In absolute terms, is going to be much more than 10%. So what you should ask whenever there is an analysis is, right? Whenever there is analysis, you should ask what is the base. You are saying 10%, sir. Very good. 10% of what? Oh, 1.7. You are saying 5%. Oh, that 5% is smaller. But 5% of what? Oh, 15 trillion. This effect, whether you're doing economics or you're doing finance, is what is known as base effect. What is your base of your calculation? Having said this, for the dear colleagues who wanted to link it to euro, wonderful introduction. If you look at the GDP, right, what 17 European countries have done is, 17 European countries have done is, they have come together and formed what is known as Eurozone. So now let me answer the question that some dear colleagues wanted. What is happening in this pound, euro and all that? See, what is Eurozone? Right? Let me give you the context. The context here is, because US was such a dominant player, Rajeshri, The European nations said, they said, let's compete with this guy. So 17 of them actually, right, 17 of them have come together and said, we'll have a common currency, euro. And this currency will be a rival to the dollar. So that we can start rivaling the dollar, Sushilji. Now, moment this has happened, this is very good. It's a very good thing. Today what is happening is, unfortunately, right, this year, by this year or maybe by next year, this year according to me the play will be over. Right? Today what's happening is that Eurozone is in trouble. Things are slightly bad, my dear friends. Right? And if Eurozone is in trouble, right, we are all worried because, right, as a region, this Eurozone has a combined GDP of about 9 trillion. So we are all worried saying that, oh, if something happens to Eurozone, and I'm so happy in the introduction itself, some of you all said, oh, we need to understand that in today's workshop. You're absolutely right. If something goes wrong there, you could have a problem. In India also, because our exporters who are exporting there could get hit. Or some joint venture partner from there who was about to invest in our country would now say, wait here, I've got problems in my country. And you know what is the problem? Earlier we had something known as, right, Ashwati, we had something known as, right, individual defaults. Anil Menon defaulting. I have taken a loan, I have defaulted. Then we had what is known as corporate defaults. Lehman Brothers was a corporate default. Today what we are discussing in all the management circles is country default. Please note, we call this as sovereign defaults. In fact, we are living in such difficult times. Why we are living in such difficult times is we are anticipating what is known as sovereign default. Country default is very good answer, but since you all wanted jargons, yeah, I'll write it down, sure. The jargon is sovereign defaults. And what is the sovereign default that is being expected now? Hema ma'am, the sovereign default that is being expected now is, yes, absolutely, is from this region. I'll take charge. Right, Nitulji? P stands for Portugal, sir. I stands for, no. I stands for, right, Ireland. This is European region. We are nowhere connected. Right, I stands for Ireland. Right, P for Portugal, Rajivji. Portugal. I stands for Ireland. The third I stands for Italy. G stands for Greece. And yes, absolutely. S stands for Spain. P stands for Portugal, and I'll try and answer this question that a dear colleague posted, and then I won't take further questions. I'll come to you in a minute, right? Portugal has already defaulted. You know what's a default? A default means not able to repay back the loan as per the original terms. So when I had taken the loan, I had promised Sudhir sir that I'll repay back today. Today I'm going to him and saying, sir, sorry, I can't pay you. I need some time. Right, restructuring. The key word to use for restructuring, I'll leave that there. I'll use this for 2 minutes, right? The key word for using for restructuring is, right, since you said restructuring, I want to give you 2 more words there also. Wonderful, right? Restructuring is a good word. In terms of restructuring, and since there are colleagues from SBI CAPS, the term is moratorium. I'll give you jargons, right? This is a very evolved audience and you deserve the best. Moratorium basically is a freeze on payments. Moratorium is a freeze on payments. So what I'm telling Sudhir sir is, sir, I'm supposed to pay you today. I'm sorry, I need another 6 months time. Now that's a default. That's a default. So I was supposed to pay sir today. I'm now going to him and say, excuse me, I need some time. Moratorium is a, please note, unplanned, the better way of putting it is, unplanned moratorium is a default. Planned moratorium is not a default. Right? Let me explain, Rohanji. Let me explain, dear friend Rohan. Let me explain. For all, let me explain this to you. If you take an educational loan, you already tell the banker, excuse me, I have taken this loan, 2 years I am going to study. 1 year I'll take to get a job. So 2 plus 1, 3 years, I will not pay you anything. I need a moratorium for 3 years. And the loan is given to you saying that 3 years moratorium. Then it is not a default. It is a planned moratorium. No, on the other side, Rohan, thank you for the question, dear friend. Right? On the other side, when the time of repayment has come in, I'm going to him and saying I need a moratorium. that becomes a default. For the esteemed colleague, a real pleasure to